Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we aren't just, talking about the theory of construction and contracting. We are holding the ultimate rulebook. We are diving deep into a formal document. We're talking an employer's absolute requirements for a contractor's project management process. It's officially labeled Document E3.1.
Right.
And our mission today is to move past the general ideas, things like transparency or good communication.
Yeah.
We want to distill the non-negotiable, cold, hard structure that's required to actually execute a massive contracted project.
Yeah, this isn't advice. This is basically contractual law for this project.
It details exactly which documents, which roles, and which deadlines unlock payments. It's how you manage billions of dollars in risk.
This document is, well, frankly, it's the administrative and organizational blueprint for the whole thing. It serves as the bedrock for the entire execution phase, and it adds all the detail to the high-level general conditions of the contract.
So it dictates everything.
It dictates the contractor's entire existence on the job, how they organize, how they report, and most critically, how they prove to the employer that they deserve every single dollar they get paid. I mean, get the paperwork wrong and the physical work, it just stops being financially recognized.
And that tight control starts right away with the project execution plan, or
Yeah.
the PGP. This isn't just a suggestion, is it? It's a project's official, mandatory execution roadmap.
Exactly. The PP is the first piece of mandatory comprehensive evidence. The contractor has to prepare it, submit it, and it has to describe in painstaking detail the specific organization, the detailed processes, and even the facilities they're going to use.
So it's the foundation.
It is the recognized foundation for their entire project management system.
And the timeline, right out of the gate, it's brutal. It really sets the pace.
Oh, it does. The final comprehensive PP has to be submitted for review and approval no later than 84 days after the official commencement date.
84 days.
Yeah.
That's what, 12 weeks? To formalize every operational detail of a project that could last for years.
And here's the strategically critical part. It's the explicit link to the money. The document makes it crystal clear. A PEP deliverable, or any of the little plans inside it, is only valid as evidence for a payment milestone.
Like that first big one, M1.
Exactly. It's only valid if it's submitted in its final format and it gets formal approval from the employer's representative.
So the employer is using administrative approval as a financial gatekeeper.
Absolutely.
And the scope of what they demand in the PEP, it goes way beyond a basic org chart. We're talking full details of arrangements, specific practices, resource allocation, the sequence of activities. It really is the operational Bible.
And to implement that Bible, you need a deep bench of very specialized managers.
Right. The employer isn't just happy with a small leadership team. They mandate a specific, extensive list of required personnel. And the contractor has to maintain up-to-date organization charts for all of them.
It's all about ensuring the structure supports the control they need. And it demands specialized management for every single friction point.
So beyond the usual project director role, what kind of specializations are we seeing?
Well, consider the complexity here. They require an interface manager coordinator.
Okay, what does that person do?
That role is absolutely essential on complex projects, where the contractor has to coordinate with existing plant systems or regulatory bodies or other contractors. That person's job is to manage the seams of the project.
The gaps between the different parts.
Exactly. And we also see a dedicated risk manager who's purely responsible for tracking and mitigating threats. And this one shows the technical depth required, an OEM integration engineer.
OEM, so original equipment manufacturers.
Yes, ensuring all those third-party components integrate perfectly into the project design.
And given the huge documentation load we're about to get into, they also require a lead document controller manager.
And the very existence of that specialized role tells you everything you need to know about how central documentation is to the success and the financial health of this contract.
And the control doesn't stop there.
No, if the employer questions the quality of the team, the document lets them demand the CVs of any personnel. They're reserving the right to check the qualifications of the people delivering this blueprint.
Okay, so let's pivot. We've got the structure, we've got the people. What about the rhythm of execution? If the PEP is the static blueprint, then the mandatory meeting structure is kind of the project's accountability heartbeat.
That's a great way to put it. The contractor has to prepare and issue a project meeting calendar every single week. They want a predictable cadence for every conversation.
And it starts fast.
It does. The first major event is within the first month. The document mandates a project kickoff and team building session. It has to be jointly organized by the contractor within 30 days of the commencement date.
And this isn't just a party, I take it.
No, no, not just a celebratory dinner. Its purpose is very focused. Formally launch the project, introduce the key people from both sides, establish common value drivers, and crucially, clarify all those key contract execution processes.
It's the moment the rules on paper become how the team actually operates.
Precisely. It's the ritual.
Then you get into the regular governance. The core of that seems to be the monthly progress meeting, the MPM.
Yes, and this meeting is driven by the employer's representative, usually at their offices, and it has to happen within 5 days of the monthly progress report being submitted.
So there's a relentless, predictable drumbeat, second week of every month, basically.
That's the goal, scheduled out 6 months or more in advance. And this MPM, it's the central nervous system of the whole managerial review. It tracks progress, keeps everyone informed, and it's the forum for discussing the big managerial and financial subjects.
And this is where the source material gets fascinating, because the agenda isn't left to chance. It's strictly mandated.
Yeah.
And this agenda is probably the best summary of what the employer cares about most. It forces the discussion to cover delays and mitigation measures.
Which means you better bring a recovery plan to the table.
Right. And also engineering issues like technical query status, procurement issues, and of course, interface issues.
But look at the control flags here. The agenda must also include quality assurance issues, so that's non-conformance reports or NCRs. And critically, they mandate discussion of both variation status and claim status at every single meeting.
So they're not just tracking progress. They are actively managing conflict and financial risk in the same meeting.
In the same 90-minute slot, yes.
That focus on NCRs is huge.
Sure.
Just for anyone listening who isn't a specialist, an NCR, a non-conformance report, that's when work or materials fail to meet the standard, right?
That's right.
So why is mandating a review of the NCR register at a high-level meeting so critical?
It's the ultimate link between quality and time. I mean, think about it. If the contractor has a lot of NCRs, it means work has to be rejected or reworked or repaired.
Which costs time and money.
It burns schedule and it increases cost. By putting NCR status on that MPM agenda, the employer is making sure that quality problems are immediately elevated to a managerial problem. It's not just a technical fix anymore.
It stops the project director from just ignoring poor workmanship.
Because poor quality is a schedule delay. End of story.
And beyond that monthly meeting, there's a weekly grind, too.
Oh, yes. The contractor has to chair weekly technical meetings. They're focused purely on resolving technical queries, TQs, and deviations, and just monitoring the quality of all the documents.
And since they mandated that interface manager role,
they mandate regular interface meetings, hosted and shared by the contractor. It's the practical application of that specialized role, making sure they're coordinating with all the external parties.
there's also a whole list of other reviews, like design reviews, risk meetings, and two acronyms that stood out to me, HAZ and HSZOP. What are those?
So these are formal safety review methodologies. HAZ is a hazard identification study. It's usually an early stage review to find potential hazards in the design itself. HAZOP, or Hazard Inoperability Study, is much more rigorous. It's a systematic examination of a process to see if, deviations from the design could lead to a hazardous event.
So by mandating these, the employer is demanding a specific, internationally recognized level of risk analysis.
They're not just checking a box, no.
And connecting all of this, at the very top, is a mandatory senior management meeting held quarterly.
The sponsor meeting, yes, between the senior leadership of both the employer and the contractor.
Which ensures that any big issue that's stalled gets elevated immediately to the people who actually hold the budget.
Exactly. Now, about the discipline for all this communication. The speed requirement for meeting documentation is, well, it's brutal. It's designed to eliminate any slack.
And the burden is all on the contractor.
Entirely.
Yeah.
They have to record the decisions made, the actions agreed, who's responsible, and the absolute deadline for that action.
And the speed, you said it's ruthless. They demand next-day minutes. Doesn't that risk sacrificing accuracy for speed?
It's a risk the employer is willing to accept, because the benefit real-time accountability is just too valuable. The mandate is clear. The minutes have to be prepared. And, if possible, presented on a screen during the meeting for immediate verification.
And if they can't agree in the room?
Then the final version still has to be issued for the employer's review the very next working day. This rule turns minute-taking from an admin chore into a critical 24-hour deliverable.
Creates a real-time accountability system. Which brings us to the final piece. The project data engine. the massive reporting requirement that feeds all these meetings.
Right.
The primary engine here is the monthly progress report, the MPR.
And the deadline keeps the employer current. No later than 7 days after the last day of the calendar month. Just 1 week to compile all that data.
And the purpose of the MPR isn't just to report history, is it?
No, not at all. The purpose is to inform the employer on all aspects of performance schedule, quality, cost, risk. But the focus must always be on deviations from the plan, areas of concern, corrective actions, and forecasts.
It's all about proactive intervention.
Exactly.
The MPR is structured into 14 chapters, and the documents they demand are intense. You have the routine stuff like HSE reports and the updated schedule, but then you get into the financial controls.
Specifically, the document demands an updated cost breakdown structure and, this is key, a monthly earned value status report.
Okay, for you listening, earned value management, or EVM, is way more sophisticated than just comparing cost to budget.
Much more. EVM measures the value of the work actually performed against what was planned for the schedule and the cost. It immediately tells you if you've spent, say, 50% of your budget, but you've only completed 30% of the work.
So if I'm the employer, the EVM report tells me immediately if the contractor is heading for a cost overrun or falling behind schedule. It's a powerful predictive tool.
Precisely. And on top of that, the MPR has to include the variation register, the claims register, the technical query register, and the NCR register. It's a complete financial and operational audit every single month.
And here's the truly incredible nugget of micromanagement I found. Buried in the construction chapter, the contract mandates that the daily site reports for the whole month must be attached to the MPR.
Yeah.
So the employer isn't just satisfied with a summary, they want the foreman-level daily log for 30 days of work.
And that sheer volume of data is only manageable if the contractor uses the employer's core infrastructure requirement, the integrated model.
Right. This model is mandatory for monitoring the logical sequence and the data flow of every single project activity. What exactly does this integrated model have to link together?
It forces synchronization between 4 major structures. You've got the work breakdown structure, WBS, the product breakdown structure, PBS, the detailed time program, and the master document register, MDR. They all have to talk to each other.
Okay, this can sound like alphabet soup. Let's break down the strategic difference between the WBS and the PBS for you.
Think of it this way. The WBS is your detailed task list. It breaks down all the work into manageable chunks like excavate foundations.
The doing part.
Right. The PBS, the product breakdown structure, is the physical inventory list. It defines the components or assets that result from the work. So, foundation block A.
So the work you are doing in the WBS must directly correlate with the physical things you are building in the PBS. Why force that?
Because it stops the contractor from claiming high progress on general tasks without having the actual physical asset ready. The detailed WBS breaks down into these verifiable product items in the PBS. That PBS is then reflected in the schedule, and for every line item, all the relevant documents, drawings, specs, QA forms have to be in the MDR. It forces organizational logic.
In the MDR, the master document register has to be hyper-specific.
Mm-hmm.
The metadata for every document has to identify 2 critical things.
Yes. First, is it subject to the employer's review for a schedule milestone? And second, is it required for a specific payment milestone?
So every single piece of paper is traced back to a point in time or a dollar amount.
If we connect this to the bigger picture for you, these requirements show that massive project control. It isn't just about managing tasks. It's about mandating a rigorous, approved, integrated data structure.
A structure that ties execution and documentation directly to the financial health of the contract.
Through those payment milestones, yes. The flow of data is the flow of work.
And let's just revisit the sheer scale of that first hurdle payment milestone, M1. To get that first chunk of money, the contractor needs the approved PEP, plus an absolute flood of other approved plans.
Mm-hmm.
The HSE plan, the WBS PBS, the detailed time program, the quality plan, the risk register. The list goes on.
The cash register does not open until the paperwork is perfect and approved.
So we've analyzed this entire blueprint for generating data, from daily site reports to monthly earned value reports to next day meeting minutes.
Which brings up, I think, an important question for you to consider. How fundamentally does this extreme level of contractual documentation become the primary work of the contractor?
More so than the physical work itself.
Maybe. I mean, when processes are this formalized and strictly linked to payment, the physical work can feel secondary to proving, through flawless administration, that you've earned the right to proceed. This documentation, It isn't just overhead, it is the fundamental definition of managing financial risk through mandated process.
A fascinating insight, whether you're managing a billion-dollar facility or, just trying to build better accountability in your own team, understanding the power of a clear, integrated, and mandated structure and linking it to your targets, that's the key takeaway. Thanks for diving deep with us.